Hi, welcome back to Does My Bank Still Love Me? We've been talking with Steve Nhean, who has come in and been our special guest today. Steve has been talking to us about what it's like to have gone through the entire process of having been a distressed homeowner to getting to the other side. And what really struck me, Steve, in our previous conversation was when you lost your job and you just bought a new house a year before. When you lost your job, you didn't know what to do. You didn't know that programs like this existed. And what I really love about coming in and doing this show is that it's designed to help people that were in exactly your situation. We want to make information available to the public. We want to make options available to the public so that you're not in Steve's situation feeling alone, frightened, and like there's no help. There is help. So, having said that there's help, why don't you talk to us about how did your help look? What happened when you hooked up with Leron Liftic and Sound Method Modifications and started working on your problems? What happened next?
Well, as soon as I brought in all the paperwork that they needed to start the process, negotiating with the bank.
Wells Fargo in this case.
Right, Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I mean, it was just Leron and his staff taking care of everything. I mean, they let me know exactly what happened step by step, through email or by giving me a call, letting me know what's going to happen next. And
so, what were some of those steps? So they took all your paperwork and then they said, okay, hang out. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna let you know what happens. So what was the first thing that happened? What was the first email or call that you got back from them? What did they say?
The first thing that I got back was that I was eligible for a loan modification because the situation I was in. I was laid off. I wasn't working, so that was good news. So we took it to phase 2, which was going forth with the term. And so they talked to Wells Fargo for me, and they took care of it for me. And then sure enough, there was a trial period that I had to go through with the bank, where I think it was for 4 months we were given a certain amount that we would pay, and then after the 4 months, then they will look to see if they can permanently modify my loan for me. So I mean, it sounded like it was really fast the way how I said it, but I mean it was about 4 months, maybe 6 months process, but it all worked out well. So
well, that's great. So I'm curious about the you qualified with Wells Fargo because you'd been laid off. Do you know how that worked?
It was my and my wife's income together, and all of our expenses, and the numbers were just so, we were making enough just to get by, but it was just really, we had barely anything left over.
Okay, so then what they did was they looked at your wife's income and they looked at your unemployment.
Right.
And then they looked at all your bills all put
all
together.
All of our bills.
Including your mortgage.
Including the mortgage.
Uh-huh. And so that sounds like a pretty exhaustive process. You had to, really track your groceries and, basically know exactly how much you were spending on everything.
Right.
Okay, so, and we have said before in this program, I believe, that doing a budget is a really good thing. So that's, one of the things that really needs to be done if you're in distress, do a budget.
Right.
And then, so they liked what they saw in terms of your budget, and then there was the 4-month period, the 4-month trial period.
Right.
And at that point, how much did they lower your monthly payments?
It was about 400, a little over $400.
And that's off of $2,000.
Right.
Well, that's helpful. That's definitely helpful. And so that went on for 4 months, and for those 4 months, you were able to make your payments on time.
Right.
Okay. And in this period of time, was Leron and his team, were they calling you up and saying, oh, urging you on, or was that a period of time when you just had to keep your nose to the grindstone and do it by yourself?
Well, I mean, it was just from there on. As soon as I got the trial period, it was just That was this is where it gets to the easy part, where we just keep making the payments.
Okay.
And then as soon as the trial period ends, then we would hear back from the bank, or I would get a hold of Leron and his team.
Okay.
And find out what to do next.
Okay. And so at the end of the 4 months, at that point, the bank, they looked at the payment history and the fact that you were on time. And at that point, then what happened? Did they make it permanent?
Oh yeah, they gave us. We got a phone call from the loan officer, and she gave us a call, and she said that she can work on trying to get it fixed for me. And I guess there was a few paperwork that I needed to fax over to them, but yeah, it was pretty fast. It was right after the trial period. It was right when they gave us a call and said she can start with the finalizing the paperwork and try to get it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was real exciting.
That's really, yeah, I can see. I was going to ask you what it felt like, and I mean, it shows on your face. So, yeah, big relief, incredible. And is that what it ended up being fixed at? A payment of, what were the final payments and the final terms on your modification?
Now our interest rate is fixed for 5 years at 2%.
Oh.
Then it would, after the 6th year, it would go up to 3%. Then after the 7th year, it would go up to 4%. Then after the 8th year, all the way to the 29th, to the end of the term, it stays at 4.35, I believe it was.
Oh, that's marvelous.
And yes, I mean.
So it went from, what, 6 3/4 down to 2%, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. That's all right. And it went from $2,000 a month down to $1,600 a month.
Right.
Oh, that's all right. That's definitely all right. Huh. Wow. Well, I'm impressed. And you say that, once you completed, you say the process really was kind of easy. Now, I have a feeling that it was maybe not quite as easy as you're letting on. There had to be some moments when you were frightened to death, but you got through those okay.
Yeah. I mean, with Leron and his team, they really, took care of it for me.
Yeah.
Because there was at one point where the bank, the Wells Fargo, wasn't. We ran into some problems because right before I was laid off, I had just refinanced the house.
Ah.
Because I guess we were afraid of what's going to happen with work. After the first layoff.
Yeah.
That they did. So we refinanced the house, and so we had it from 6.77, I think it was, down to 4.75. But even then, we were still making about over $1,800 a month mortgage payment because the value of our home went down.
Yes.
So we had to pay this thing that's called mortgage insurance.
Yes.
Which was about $150 a month.
Yeah, a lot of our viewers, I think, are available to that. So, based on all of this experience, this experience that you had going through the layoff, refinancing your house, coming through the other side with really great terms, lower payments, I know you've gone back to school. You've gotten your certificate to be a welder. This guy is very hireable. If there's any people out there hiring. Do you have any bits of advice for our viewers before we wrap up this segment?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put your trust in the hands of a professional, they'll provide you with the peace of mind.
Yes, very good.
And that's what me and my wife really wanted, was just that peace of mind, and that's what we got.
Bravo.
Even more.
Yeah, bravo. So Steve and his wife were really lucky that they had a friend who turned them on to Leron and his company. But we want to urge you out there to find a reputable company that you want to do business with to help you through this. It doesn't have to be us. Find somebody who feels right to you. Do your due diligence, but find somebody to help, because as you can see, if you have a hand to hold to guide you through this very traumatic experience, you can come out the other side in a much better position and really kind of smelling like a rose. So thank you so much for being with us today, Steve.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming on in and sharing your story.
Thank you.
And that's it for this segment. We'll be right back with Norm and with Leron and with more interesting good stuff. We'll see you later.